it's one of the most passive businesses I've ever been a part of, because like if I don't work for 2 months, like that site is still going to generate 5, 6, 7,000 a month. And that is one of the most sellable assets that I've ever seen that will get the highest multiple whenever we exit.
Welcome to Seven Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the number one podcast bringing you behind the scenes with real online earners. No fake gurus here. And today we have the wonderful Peter Tzemis and the wonderful Tyler Devon, as per usual. What is going on, team? Peter, excited to have you here, man.
Yeah, man. It's pumped. I'm excited. I like when there's no fake gurus, you know. It's a hard world.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun too, man. We don't really know much about what you do. We chatted a little bit before, so I'm excited to kind of dig in and see what you're all about. Apparently you're a copy pro. You're a pro at scaling offers. So excited to hear about all of that.
So let's start with the important shit, man. Where are you at right now? You said Colombia?
Yeah. So I'm in Colombia. I've been here for a little while. Great spot. I mean, I'm originally from Canada, though. Originally born and raised Toronto boy. So.
Oh, nice. You made the right choice.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's like -10 up there and snowing right now. So.
Much different than even here. It's cold as shit. It's like -4, which is a lot for Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Colombia's like 18 right now. Sunny.
Yeah.
Damn. So it's a good time.
I'm jealous. No winter is the answer.
No winter, indeed. It is called the eternal spring for a reason. So
yeah, I love it, man. So let's go back, man. I don't really know how you started in this industry, but let's go back to like what it was that turned you onto the online space and how you sort of jumped in it.
All right.
I like that grin you have to start, by the way. You know,
I was just like, all right. Okay, so it's actually started when I was in high school, ironically, way back. Wow. And so I was just like a normal nerdy kid, you know, biology and all that shit. And I couldn't pick up chicks for the life of me. So I did what every normal kid does. I stole my dad's credit card and bought a bunch of info products on dating. Right. So
amazing.
Yeah. And so I ended up on all these email lists. And, you know, I stayed on them for a couple of years. And then when I was in uni, I was in biology, supposed to go to med school. And I was kind of like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to work online. I want to write a book and make $1,000. That was like my only goal. And I didn't want to do the whole, like, you know, job, marriage, kids path.
Yeah. And
so in my third year of uni, I dropped out. I went to a seminar in Vegas as an underage kid. First time I've been to Vegas. In a seminar called Digital Millionaire by this guy, Alex Morocco, who many people know as Jason Capital. And from there, I learned kind of how to. So I kind of.
Alex Morocco, is that like his actual name?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How long ago was
JC
this?
is his alter ego. This was 2014.
Wow. So I didn't realize that guy's been in the game so long.
Yeah, he was in the game before that. He did basketball stuff when he was in university. He sold basketball courses and just smashed it. If you look up Alex Morocco basketball, I think it's still around somewhere.
That's crazy, man. I did not know that.
Yeah. So I ended up at that seminar. He taught me kind of the basics of information product marketing, copywriting, sales pages, stuff like that. I was so hyped up that, you know, I went back to school, dropped out on my birthday that year, which was like the week after the event in October.
Good for you.
And wrote my first book, created a first offer. And of course, you know, the first year made $8. It was a rough year. Yeah, my parents are not thrilled. My dad's a dentist and he's very pushing for the med school pass, and was my mom. So they were definitely not thrilled. I ended up back at university, finished my degree. And during that last year, I kind of skipped all my classes, continued to push with the internet stuff. And right before I went into my finals, I launched a new offer or a new book called Anabolic Stretching, which is a book on how to teach men how to stretch with weights, anabolic loaded stretching, if you're familiar with that term. And right out of the gate, started smashing. We started doing hundreds of sales a day, basically overnight at that point.
How'd you advertise that?
So I made a bunch of affiliates over the past year during that time, going to different networking events, kind of using the fact that I was 19 to be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe you can help me kind of thing. really play that like young card. Yeah, and it worked really well.
You know, it's interesting,
And,
man. I like how you played that to your like your advantage, opposed to like thinking of that as like a deterrent.
Yeah, it definitely was a deterrent, but then someone had told me that, like, man, just like milk the shit out of it. I'm like,
That's smart, man. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, yeah. I had nothing to lose, so I had a couple offers, and they all failed up until that point. And Annabelle Stretching launched, and yeah, dude, like overnight, like I was making more money than the professors. Like it was fucked. Like,
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we just built that business up over the next like 2 or 3 years, and then I ended up selling it to a strategic buyer when I was 22 and a half, somewhere in there. After that, kind of took some time off and just like thought about what I wanted to do, learn from different aspects of internet marketing, helped really build some big SEO sites for a while. Exited those, and then I got back into like heavy direct response copywriting late like 2019 because I don't know. I wanted to build some more companies, and that was the fastest, best way that I knew how to do it. Started getting up with this big company, Traffic and Funnels. They had hired me to do some consulting and help them scale kind of one of the biggest offers on the internet to like 2 or 3 million a month for 18 months straight. It's called Inbound Closer. And then after that, I got sick of people. It's called Inbound Closer. It was all over YouTube for pretty much all of 2020 and most of 2021. And then I got sick of people kind of like not using my copy the way I wanted it to be used. And so I launched my own brands back again, new supplement brand called Slim Sciences. I've got my dog trees brand, Pup Labs now. I've got my Mastermind, Supplement Millionaire. And I do have a new clothing brand launching, which I don't have the clothing in the room, but it's called Hot Guys Do Therapy. It's a men's mental health brand movement, which I'm just pushing for from a big proponent of like therapy and kind of self-work. So yeah, there's a lot of projects going on. Yeah.
Man, there's like a lot of like things that you do that don't seem to really interconnect on the surface.
No, but they all find a way to connect. At the end of the day, it's just entrepreneurship, and the vehicle is digital advertising, so to speak. I try to think of myself as like Don Draper of 2022 a little bit, so or maybe like
nice.
A little Pablo in there now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's great about you, man, is like the skill set still applies regardless of what market you're in. As long as you have the fundamentals down, man, you can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's what's been it's a real blessing. And there was a lot of struggle in the beginning, especially the early days, but that was probably the best gift, was like not succeeding out of the gate for sure. That was a rough time, but I would never change it. I think too many people hit it quick early in the internet game, and they don't build up that resilience and persistence. Yeah. And then that's why you see a lot of internet people come in the industry and they go like this. And you see a lot of fake gurus too, as well as a result. They made 10K online, all of a sudden they're having 100K years, and like, let me teach you how to make 10K online, even though they've only made 10K 1 month in a row. So they see a lot of that.
No, I agree with you, man. Mine was very similar. I started making a majority of my money like further on in my career. And I thought it was good too, because it taught me, one, to save my money. Because very early on, I don't know if you experience this, but it's almost like a roller coaster, very up and down until you stabilize. And then two, it's just like you said, that resilience. Like I feel like when you come from where we come from, I feel like every year is almost you're in startup mode, because you're starting up new campaigns, you're starting up new ideas. You get so fucking good at startup that it just becomes like a way of life. But it really does build that resilience.
Oh yeah. I mean, internet marketing changes every 6 months, and that's what like I love and hate about it, because it filters out a lot of the fake gurus, I guess, because everyone watches the cycle. And yeah, it's also a great way to stand out, because I mean, in this world, like anyone who's speaking or talking about something they did more than a year ago, it's probably outdated information. And then, that's why I'm a big fan of just my blog is all about that kind of stuff. It's just what's working right now, because what's working right now is going to change 6 months from now. And you got to be like on the ball. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Would you mind sharing some numbers, just like as far as like how big the dog brand is and stuff like that, just so people can
Yeah. So the dog brand launched in July this year, July 2022. The first month we did $4,000 in sales, and we lost about 20. This is really interesting. We're just testing all this stuff. Yeah, no, not a great start. Well, I mean, it depends who you ask, but in the real,
but that's how it goes, man. That's true startup.
Everything goes. Yeah. It's funny, man. I think people don't talk about that enough. Like, if you lose money, that's actually a good thing out the gate, and like generate some sales, because you're getting proof of concept at that point. Yeah.
I agree. It's just like I mean, look, in any other business outside of direct response and like internet marketing, like losing money in the first 2 years of business is normal. Like that's a normal path. But
Yeah.
in direct response, everyone's like, I made 100 grand in the first 30 days. That's everyone's promise,
Yeah.
But dog bread, it scaled well though. We're doing 4,000 the first month, and then in August we did 35,000 in sales, which was a good jump. And we're break even that month. And then in October, no, in September we did 101,000, and then October we did 152,000, and then this month was back to 100. We had some issues with Black Friday going on and Facebook scaling. But yeah, it's been pretty scalable. I'm pretty happy with it so far. We don't break even or profitable day zero, which is my favorite thing for sure. I hate going in the red on day zero.
Yeah.
So it's a 7-figure brand already, which is cool. But it'll go. I would like to grow it to $1 million a month. That is the big goal. Really, really scale it. They're awesome dog treats. I mean, I made them for like my own dog, Zoe.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
She's like, yeah, we have a really cool story, and she got sick and stuff, but her house turned around. It's been great. I know there's an opportunity to not only like make good money, but also like help a lot of families and dogs who don't know like how corrupt the dog industry is, because it is truly one of the most corrupt industries I've ever been a part of.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's a dog brand. So basically within 90 days, you were able to flip it. It sounds like get it profitable or break even.
Yep.
And being a consumable, that means people are probably ordering again and again. Are you starting to see that out of your customer base?
Yeah. That was the big thing, is that we knew if we could break even or even lose a little bit of money day zero, we knew there'd be a recurring billing cycle. And as long as we could sustain that kind of overflow, it's something that we're calling now is blended CPA model, which is basically like CPA is cost per acquisition. And usually people look at a CPA as like, $100 CPA. So we spend $100 on Facebook, we're going to acquire a customer. What we're looking at now is that this blended model where we look at the overflow. So let's say we're thinking about 20% of our people who are coming to our pages are buying from us, but they buy on our Shopify page, or they buy on our Amazon page, or they call into our customer service and buy. And so this allows us to create a 20% buffer room to scale even harder. And it's kind of the blended CPA model instead of just a flat CPA model, which is what most businesses are doing.
Nice. That's awesome. What's your ultimate game plan with this brand? Like, where do you plan to take it?
Once we get to $1 million a month, I'd like to look into exiting. With a big company. I'm a big fan of building business and exiting. That's just kind of my MO. It's kind of what I do. So yeah, I'm going to say like within the next, let's make a quote, because this will be recorded. Yes. Let's say 2024, by 2024, we've exited the company. I don't know what month. Maybe we'll say October 2024. Make a prediction. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
That's very cool.
And see how it went.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have it set up as subscription based as well, or is it just nice?
Yeah. So the cold traffic stuff is all one-time orders, and then that pushes to our Shopify page, which is completely optimized for subscription buyers. And so we're seeing about a 40% take rate of people that buy go into subscription on our Shopify website. Yeah, which is monstrous, right? And so we're still kind of figuring out how long the stick rate is, because it's only like a 5-month-old business. And so once we find those numbers, we'll be able to kind of really like hammer in our scale, because we'll know our LTV and all that stuff. So, and we're rolling out, we got 3 SKUs right now, we're rolling out 5 in January, 5 more. So we'll have 8 SKUs, and that should probably increase not only the AOV, but the amount of people kind of recurring ordering, just because some people they don't need joint products, they don't need bad breath, but maybe they need just treats, or maybe they need like itching and scratching or allergy stuff. So we're just trying to hit all the segments of the market. Yeah.
Maybe let's touch on that a little bit, man, because I know a lot of stuff's probably like second nature to us, but not everyone hearing like, you said adding in more products to increase your AOV, which is your average value. So like the theory behind this is like, say you're making $50 up front, it's costing you $50. You add in a couple more products, people start taking those. Now you go from a break even on that front end to a profitable plus the reoccurring.
Yeah, exactly. So I look at it as like McDonald's is the one that invented this whole process, right? It's like, would you like fries with that? That is the famous line. And that all that is like, or would you like to supersize your order? That's what it is. Would you like to supersize your order? And that's all we're doing with dog stuff. It's like you buy the front end product, you buy some joint chews. It's like, would you like to supersize your order? Would you like to buy more product at a discount as a result? So you save money, and then we save money on shipping because we're already shipping out the order. And we in turn also make more money on day zero, which allows us to scale harder. So everybody wins across the board, not just us and not just the consumers.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So there's the dog brand. What were the other brands?
So I did have a supplement company, and I do have one now that we're relaunching, which is a little bit different because I do own a SEO website called Roman Fitness Systems, and I'm a part owner in that with two guys, David Gonzalez and John Romanello. And that website has been turned on its head to become kind of this affiliate website where it's like we rank the best products in the world for supplements. So the best NMN, the best protein powder, the best vitamin D. And so we've done that for the past 3 years now. We have a ton of traffic and it's doing really well. And so what I've done now is building an entire supplement company to place those rankings as our number one spot. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Totally.
So we've kind of gone this route. We're making a ton of affiliate commission and we're like, well, if we just put our own products at number one, not only can we make a better product because we control the entire process front to back, but two, we can make a ton more cash for the business, which helps us grow and invest and expand the business line and kind of deliver excellent products that we can control the quality of. Because when we're recommending, obviously we recommend the best, but like we don't know the manufacturer that they're using all the time. We don't know everything, right? It's hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. What so how do you guys generate traffic for that brand?
So that brand is all SEO for now. All SEO, and then on that side, and we also have a full like email backend system as well, which works great. Just email affiliates, email drops, all that stuff, which we've kind of cultivated over the past 7 years between me and my partner. And he's just a master at that side of the business.
That's amazing. How many visitors does that site get?
50,000 a month right now. I think it's hitting it. Like it's doing well.
That's cool though. Just free traffic, 50,000 hits. Like that's solid.
Right. Yeah. Like it's a good, it's a very low, like right now it's only about five grand a month in profit. But that's because we're getting about 10% of affiliate commissions, right? And so when we bump that up with the supplement company to 80%, you turn a $5,000 a month profit into $40,000 a month profit company like this. And that's kind of where we're at now. So
that's very cool, man.
In the online world,
cool
you find like untouched assets like that almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you switch the traffic with your own product, what's possible there?
Yeah, it's cool because SEO, one of those things SEO, people are like, it's so saturated and all this stuff, and everyone stopped doing it for 5 years, which made it unsaturated, is what happened. That's what I saw. Because everyone's like 2012, 2013, this SEO's dead. And like, yeah, it was dead back then. And then everyone didn't do it for 7 years. And then all of a sudden there's this huge like window of opportunity, right? And now it's one of the most passive businesses I've ever been a part of. Because like if I don't work for 2 months, like that site is still going to generate 5, 6, 7,000 a month. And that is one of the most sellable assets that I've ever seen that will get the highest multiple whenever we exit. Because anyone, you guys can take it over literally today and start making the exact same money without touching anything for 3 or 4 months at a time. That's what's super cool about it. And a big fan of like strategic thinking in that sense. So
what so that's the supplement. What were the other brands you had?
So I have the coaching program too. It's called Supplement Millionaire. Me and my partner Cody Bramlett started it. And essentially what it does, it teaches like what I'm doing online in the supplement space, both the dog and human side, and teaches people who want to break in or helps people scale. So we have a lot of influencers there who have big followings, big fitness people, and they want to launch their own supplement brand. And we basically A to Z how to do it. Lawyers, copy, optimization, funnels, back-end, team building, literally everything you can think of to do it and scale. Because Cody's done it with his own side. He runs Science Natural Supplements, which does multiple 8 figures a year. He runs Yum Nutrition. We have a company called Slim Sciences that's launching next month, which will go as well. And yeah, he's a master at all the operations side, and I've got the copy and marketing side. So it's a good duo, and we've got 32 members in there now. We've got companies that are just starting out, and we've got companies that are doing 92 million a year. It's a huge range in terms of like what's possible. And so we see all that.
How many a year on the top end?
92 million.
Yeah, that's strong, man.
Yeah. So we've got some really heavy hitters, and we've got some people that will be heavy hitters at some point. So it's really cool to see all the data is what I'm interested in. I see all the data from different levels of companies, different niches, all in the supplement space, but it's really cool. It helps me make better decisions in my own brands, and it helps kind of this positive feedback loop with everyone, because everyone that's in that business is all helping each other out. Like if I have a weight loss brand, my customers are still going to buy other people's weight loss products. Like my mom, she loves cooking, so she'll buy cooking from like person A, person B, or person C. There's no competition. She's buying cookbooks from every single like cooking influencer out there. That's how the supplement space is too. People that are in the weight loss or skincare, like the woman that wants to like lose weight also wants to look better, also wants to like reduce wrinkles and stuff. Like it's all the same customer. You know, we can all kind of help each other out. It's one of the only industries that you can make money with friends like forever. Like everyone just needs each other to make more money. It's super cool.
I love that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, man, I had Cody on last month. He was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. Hey, he's a sharp mofo. Like, he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
What would you say the difference is between like someone who's struggling to get their supplement brand off the ground versus someone doing like 90 million a year?
Probably two things: marketing and economics. Obviously, marketing, whether you can sell your product, even if it's a shit product. I mean, sales cure all. You know, ready firing, that's the best thing. I mean, the more sales you get, you can fix every other problem with that. But the other thing too that people forget is that a lot of businesses are run on economics, and you have supplement that's just very expensive, no matter how high quality it is. Like getting it at scale is going to be nearly impossible unless you already have an existing traffic source that you own. Meaning you don't have to buy traffic, whether it's like, you know, followers that trust you, a huge podcast base, SEO traffic, for example. It doesn't matter. And even then, the economics still have to work like for profit wise, because a business is built on profit, it's not built on revenue. Revenue businesses die all the time. We've seen that over and over again. But profit-based businesses win because you keep money. It's about how much money you keep at the end of the day. It's not how much money you make. Companies that make, you know, 90 million a year, but if they're only keeping $1 million a year, like, you know how much headache that is? Do you know $89 million in headache, or $91 million in headache? That's a lot of headache.
You gotta give it to those guys like Bezos and stuff who just lose hundreds of millions of dollars a year and like still slog at it year after year until that thing flips. Like, I can just imagine trying to explain to shareholders how come I lost another $300 million this year. That's got to be a very awkward conversation.
It's a different game though.
Yeah,
you know, it is a different game. I mean, a lot of those guys like that are sitting in that room have such deep pockets that 300 million to them is nothing. You know, it's like $3. Like, they don't care. Well, they do care, but at the end of the day, like, it's a different style of business, and I would like to get into that side eventually. But I'm not really ready for those conversations in terms of, sorry, bro, I lost 300 mil.
Yeah, I just don't understand that side of business, honestly. Like, I can't.
I don't get it either. Well, it's like Manscaped. I don't know if you just followed Manscaped at all, but I think they lost like $250 million this year.
Wow,
$250 million. Yeah, it was all over like the news because like they had the Super Bowl ad and all this shit. And they spent an absurd amount of money, and I was like, man, like who the fuck is funding these businesses? Like, why would you trust any of these CEOs? Like, don't understand. Like, for me, that's why I'm always like, day zero profits matter more than anything else. You know, and I understand going in the hole, and like I've done it. And it works if you know your LTVs, but like these companies clearly, I mean, maybe they do know their LTVs, and maybe I'm just talking my ass. But like, dude, when you lose $250 million, like something is missing. You know,
one of my good friends has a YouTube channel, and they sponsored him. And so like, or they didn't sponsor him. I guess they get him to do shout outs, and they pay him stupid money for that Manscaped stuff. But then like when you actually see the product, it's like complete garbage. Like it's just like such a piece of crap. So I just like don't see the longevity in that business model.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? Like this. I mean, I have an entrepreneurship, but like it's just internet marketing again is the vehicle that I've chosen for whatever reason. And entrepreneurship is about solving problems and helping people. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Like,
man, I'd be kind of curious about that clothing line a little bit. I'm also a huge fan of development, so I'm curious to see how you wrap that all in.
Yeah, let me. You know, I'm gonna grab one. So it's gonna take like 3 seconds. Yeah. But I can keep talking while we're here. But the clothing line is
in. Like a fucking ghost.
Yeah, I got the AirPods in. Yeah, no, it's like a ghost. You can't see me now. The clothing line started when I got a metric fuck ton of therapy about 1.5 years ago. That's what happened. So this is the original design right now. Hot guys do therapy.
Hilarious.
Nice.
And so we're changing up some of the designs. I don't like how big it is in the sweater, but we'll launch in like late Q1 next year. But yeah, it started because I got a ton of therapy 15 months ago from this world-renowned therapist, a celebrity therapist named Brent Charlton. And it like completely changed my life. It's unlike any other therapy that I've known of or been a part of. You know, the first time I saw him in person, we spent 4 days together doing 9 hours a day of therapy. Like, It's just intense as shit. Yeah, crazy, like life-changing stuff. And that's why I hired him. I wanted to be something different. his whole thing is that he graduates you after a couple years. And I didn't want to be in therapy for 20 years. You know, I'm not about that. I want quick changes, even if they're hard, quick decision making, and quick evolution and optimization of like myself and who I can become. Because the better I know myself, the better I become a person, the more alignment I have, the better I can serve the world, make more money, be happier, help people, the whole thing. Everything works.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's also great timing for the world. There's a whole mental health push now, and a lot of men are neglected. I believe there's a lot of like push for women's like the whole Me Too movement, the women's rights stuff, and I'm all for it. I'm just not for the fact that men are being neglected in society. That's what I'm not for. They're all just being left behind. It's all about the women, and people will not like that opinion for sure, but that's okay.
Dude, it's
because
true,
I think
though.
men,
It's 100% true.
deserve a voice. It's fucking 100% true, man. Like,
toxic masculinity is everywhere. You know, you can't say shit.
Right. Exactly.
Cancel me.
I was actually trying to understand that term the other day. Someone was like, "Oh, this is an example of toxic masculinity." I'm like, man, I don't even get what's going on here right now. This is crazy.
Who said that?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to say it, but anyways, it was interesting, man. It's like, but these terms are like all relatively new too. Like growing up, I never heard of shit like this.
I mean, it's all marketing. It's all for a control aspect. It's to control men, because if you have like wild, ambitious, like hard charging men, they can like upset and change society quickly. Right. And that's not very good for people that are in power. It's one of the reasons I love Colombia, to be honest.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Like North America.
That thread. What do you mean?
Colombia is a very free country. That's the one thing I'll say about this country. It's very free. It's very like men will be men, women will be women. Everyone's got their place. No one is better than each other. Like women aren't better than men and men aren't better than women. They just have their own place in society and their own roles to play. And it complement each other. Like it's everyone works better when people are who they're supposed to be. When men are not being feminine and when women are not being masculine. I find it works better, at least. It's a very biased, polarizing opinion maybe, but I mean, I think it's right. So
it is very different from like Central and South America, man. When I've spent time down there, you certainly notice the difference. It's very obvious.
Yeah, and everyone's happier here, dude. I mean, and compared to North America, there's no money here, but I've met a lot of girls here, and they come from dirt poor, like you wouldn't even imagine. They're all very happy. They're just happy people. They're doing their thing. They're all aligned. They just live their life, and they're happy. And even one girl's telling me like, "Yeah, I'm happy. Like one day I don't eat, next day I eat." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Wow,
that's crazy to me. And it's just like there's a different way of life and different, and they're not as screwed up in the head from all this like propaganda and all the like Instagram crap that's been going through the past 5 years, TikTok stuff, all like the brainwashing, as people like to call it. It's just hard.
I think the entitlement kills me, man. That sense of entitlement is like one of the biggest things I hate.
Yeah.
People think they're something and they're not at the end of the day, man. Like if anything, in the whole sperm count of life, you just got lucky you're born in America. You could have been born in Africa, Russia, somewhere in Asia, maybe Australia, but like you did nothing to deserve this at all. This was your luck. So you're not entitled for anything for that. Just is what it is.
100%. Yeah, you're blank slate, man. Like you should earn everything that you ever get. 100%. And there's no, that's not to say like if you have privilege, you shouldn't use it for the better, because I'm a big proponent of like use your privilege, like own it, like respect your privilege. Obviously, like don't say like you're come from nothing if you came from fucking something. But like, man, like I was born like my dad's a dentist, like not poor at all. Like, I definitely had like the reason I am where I am, at least half the reason is because like I'm like a white dude in North America who had like money growing up. And like when I skipped class in university, it's because like I had parents who were paying for it. You know what I mean? Like I had my dad, he gave me my first like 10 grand to go to this seminar. Like that's massive privilege, like that most people don't get. And like that's why I'm like where I am at my age. I think I'd still be where I am, just probably not at my age. I'd probably be about 3 or 4 years behind, to be honest. And I own it and I fucking love it. I'm not gonna apologize because like I was born as a white dude in North America. So why would I apologize? It's not even in my control.
Dude, I agree. 100% I agree. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a huge culture shift too, in the sense that like eventually people are gonna realize that like not everyone has these high values when they just literally don't have high values, you know, like just because, for example, you're a hot girl, it doesn't mean that you get fucking everything in this world, you know? So, and I mean, like, it's our fault, man, because like when we're younger, we're giving these hot girls everything as well. Like I'm like not saying that I've never done that before, but at the same time, it's like provide some value to this world or fuck off.
Yeah, there's a big shift in value, and yeah, dude, it's just there's a lot of things that this world has, like Colombia's taught me that there's a lot of values in Colombia that are just so amazing that we've just forgotten in North America. Not just Colombia, most of Latin America and other countries that aren't as like again indoctrinated into this Instagram, TikTok beauty culture, that it's like all about like you're either hot and you make money or you're ugly and you work as a peasant. Like that's what it's becoming slowly, which kind of sucks because people can't control the physical looks, and people shouldn't be limited to making money based on like what the fuck they look like.
I would also think that we're like losing, I think we're losing industries as well, like in a sense that like not many people want to become like trades workers or something, and this is an assumption, but I'm going to assume that like it's not really glorified. And you know, if you're put on this pedestal, like, oh, you work as a fucking plumber, like you're nobody. But at the same time, like we need those people. Like those people are a huge value to us on every aspect, regardless of what the trade is. Like that's what keeps the world going around, you know? And I think there's going to be a time where we just start realizing that we need all these people, but there's going to be so little of them that we're just going to have to spend so much money to have these services in our life. Like it's interesting. It's killing industries. I feel
it's killing industries, also killing humanity as a whole. I think that a lot of this Instagram, TikTok, Americanization, Canadianization too. Canada's nowhere different than America. They're the exact same country. It's just deadening people inside. Like I've met a lot of girls, met a lot of people, and like most of these people, including myself for a long time, don't like feel a lot. You don't feel emotions. Like they use people, they're narcissistic as fuck. Like they're dead inside. Like it's just, and it's a bad culture. It's a bad size, and it's also a bad way to like bring new children into the world when you have a ton of narcissistic parents. That's a very dangerous thing. You have a whole generation that's brought up by like very fucked up people. That's the thing, like very sick. And like I use sick as a very like strong word, but honestly, very sick people that need like therapy, they need like consulting, they need trauma healing. And again, they bring us back to why I'm pushing for the brand, because there's a lot of men out there that just need a little bit of healing. Because the more that they're healed, the more that they're happier. They're better for the world. They're better for creating industries, creating money, creating jobs, moving the world to a better place so that we don't end up like all killing ourselves before 2300 or whatever, 2200.
I'd be kind of curious to pull up like just the suicide stats, because even the did you see even the Green Power Ranger killed himself the other day?
I did not see that.
That's fucked up.
I forget his name, Jason Frank or something like that. But if anything, I thought growing up, like he was probably like a symbol of like potential and hope in a lot of ways, right? Because he's like this teenager kid who like fights crime and stuff, or not crime, but whatever the Power Rangers did. Man, it's a fascinating time to be alive. I think it's far different than how our parents grew up in. I think some ways, and this is just my personal opinion, I think society wasn't totally ready for social media. And the ramifications of like how it affects people. However, I do think that people are like starting to become a little bit wiser now. Like now when they see a video on Instagram, I think they don't totally buy into the situation that's going on, not realizing there's probably more of a backstory there. And like you see a lot of push against the media just through like, hey, you've presented something one way, but here's actually the facts on it, which are completely avoided, not at all like presented, and completely changes the narrative of the story. So I think in some ways, like we just weren't ready for it. But I've always had this confidence that like we'd always adapt and move forward. And I'm still hopeful thinking that'll happen. But it's definitely interesting. Even seeing the older generation come on to social media and stuff is pretty funny to watch as well.
I think humans will always adapt and survive and thrive. But I think like there's like life goes through seasons, at least I found, and we're about to like enter a pretty heavy winter for a while, I think. So
it's interesting too with everything that's going on in the financial markets, like interest rates continuing to rise. I'm a huge fan of real estate, and I've made a few purchases, but I was talking to my realtor, and he's very seasoned. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, gapped out heavy there. Yeah, you're good now. Redo that part.
Yeah, I just say my realtor, he's been in the game for 30 years. He's sold north of $10 billion worth of real estate. And he thinks these higher interest rates are like here to stay, which is like mind blowing for us to think about. Because I feel like my entire life rates were like sub 5%, and now going to where they're going, it's gonna be an interesting time. But he's like, I bought my first house, it was 12%.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was going on. I'm just trying to play this game and just the best I can, and then we'll see what happens.
You know, I think the opportunity for everyone is to kind of what we touched on before is really understand value, man. Like we have internally at our company, people don't get paid extra based on seniority. Like if you've been here for 12 years and you still provide the same value as 12 years ago, you're not going to get a raise for that. That's not how shit works. If anything, you should be better at your craft, better what you do. We're always a huge of value. I think more people understand value too. I think that could change a lot of things in a major way.
Yeah, dude, value first people, value first society, value first companies. The world will shift towards like creators and artists and like people doing good work. That's where the world is shifting, because a lot of the menial tasks will be done by robots in the next like 20 years for sure. Even writing. Yeah.
I think those artists though, they need to really identify what their value is, because the ones that get it, they do extremely well. But there's a lot of talent out there that really has no idea. And I think more people can grasp on value. Because you think about what we do at the end of the day, like you think about your dog treat, right? All you're doing is you're presenting the value of it. That's how you can sell over 100 grand of it in a month. Like most companies don't do a great job of doing that.
No, most companies have big budgets and they have a lot of bloated staff, and they're just like, let me just waste a bunch of cash. And that's fine, because I'll take all the money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If anything, it's like a great season to be an entrepreneur, man. Because if you can understand value, how to get your message out there, in a lot of ways, it's a blue ocean. Yeah,
value and storytelling for sure. That's the biggest thing. That's the most lucrative skill set I ever come across. Storytelling is the most primal. Just speaks to like a part of your brain that is so wired to your genetic coding that it's just like it's the easy. It's like the Matrix. You just plug into the Matrix, and Neo plugs in and he downloads all this like kung fu shit. That's a storytelling game. So you just skip right to the end, and this is amazing.
What? Go ahead.
How'd you become good at storytelling? Because like you're a huge copywriter, and I feel like that's such a huge aspect in this business online. I mean, I guess in any business really, but more so online. And I think everyone's starting to realize that more so than just like, hey, we can toss up subpar ads, still make a buck. And now it's just getting more competitive in the sense where your copywriting and creatives just have to stand out so much more. So how did you kind of get into that? And what are like kind of some key elements that you noticed that really took your copywriting to the next level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got into storytelling when I was like even a kid. I mean, I've always been a writer. So when I was like, I was younger, like I was super nerdy. I used to write short stories about me and like my pet squirrel, and we'd go on these fucking adventures and shit. Like that was a weird kid. I got a poem published when I was young. Yeah, that was
awesome. The dating books, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got poem published when I was in grade 3 or 4 or something. I'm like, I've always been a writer, always been a storytelling. I know I love the Marvel series, love the movies. It's been a part of me. And, the only thing about storytelling is like half the battle is just logic. It's just like, what is a good sequence of events for a story to occur? That's half the battle of storytelling. The other half is creativity, which is very hard to teach, because creativity requires you to bend the rules and kind of like vomit out this idea where society is like, you have to sit in class for 12 years of your life and raise your hand only when you're asked to speak. Like you have to just like purge that idea of like a box to box, that you have to stay in this box, because that's creativity, is just linking multiple things together and creating this new idea, which is very, very hard for people to do. I think a lot of people can become more creative, but there is a certain element of creativity that is just genetic and it's hard to teach. It is I can't teach that skill set. I don't know how to teach people how to be creative. But the other aspect of storytelling, which you can still become a very good storyteller, is being logical about the flow of events and just following the hero's journey. That is like the basis of any story. hero comes and he's going through this quest, and then he meets a mentor, and he hits rock bottom, and then all of a sudden he makes a breakthrough and he becomes the hero and returns back to the homeland. Like, that is the story,
Dude,
and
that's
it can
every Marvel movie ever.
Yep, and it's every ad campaign ever too. Is every
Yeah.
long form ad campaign, every like brand story, even like Liquid Death, the water company. They've blown up crazy about personality driven marketing, and their whole thing is like we got this this hero. The what?
What's Liquid Death? I thought it was like 400 or 700 million.
Yep, we got 700 million recently. Yeah.
Insane.
And they sell fucking water, and like again, they follow the heroes journey, dude. You got this ordinary character, water, comes in and fights the villains, which is in this case is like plastic, right? Plastic society, plastic bottles, like tap water, government regulated tap water. They come in, they meet a mentor, which is the Alps in this case, and they find the good source of water straight from the source. And they get the water from there, and then they tell the story and they bring it back to society, and everyone loves their water. Because it's healthier, it's better for you, and like the recycling thing where their aluminum cans are recyclable, where plastic is not really recyclable, and they bring the solution, and it's literally the hero's journey. That's it, and now they're back in square one, which is except they have the solution for everybody. That's super cool, and it's every marketing campaign from water to Marvel movies to skincare. Like Proactive is the same billion-dollar skincare brand. I mean, every brand is the same. It's just about the creativity aspect is about how you tell that story.
Totally.
I really think that canned water tastes way better personally.
Dude, I love that it looks like a beer can. I went to photos with a photographer, and I'd always walk in with a Liquid Death because I buy it. And like every time I thought I was walking in with a beer at like 10 a.m. It was pretty funny.
I just bought a couple cases actually. I didn't know I could get it in Canada till the other day. Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, they got it right. They got it right.
I would love to talk about some of the maybe dissect some of the bigger launches you've been a part of where you've done the copy and stuff. If you could kind of like, take us into that so people can understand how big of a value copy is to their overall game plan. It's like with good copy, you can turn a failing business into a very profitable business.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll talk about Pup Labs after, because that's been the most recent one, and a lot of it's very heavy, copy heavy. We'll talk about about a year and a half ago when I was involved with tracking funnels, and we were scaling the offer to 2 million a month. That was a big heavy hitting offer. And copy's everything. I mean, the whole funnel was basically YouTube ad, which was scripted, scripted and directed from a copy standpoint, to then a VSL, which is a video sales letter, which is basically an infomercial, glorified infomercial, which again, every minute of that 40-minute VSL was scripted to a T, word for word. Like there was no extra word in there.
It was 40 minutes long.
Yep.
What's crazy about that, man? Anytime I've worked with people who are experts and like they ask about a VSL, they're like, how long should it be? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? And this is my belief, but I'm curious to get your belief. My belief is it needs to be as long as it fucking needs in order to do its job to sell. So if you can sell it in 20 minutes, great. It should be 20 minutes. If it's 2 hours, maybe it should be 2 hours because your shit's complicated. But like, what's your perspective?
100%.
How long should a VSL be?
Yeah, as long as it needs to be and not a word more. And like we're seeing that across like every board. I think that VSLs are getting shorter overall because attention span of humans are declining as a result of like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and all that shit. But at the end of the day, like people still go to a movie and will watch Avatar for 3 hours without checking their phone. It's not like people's attention span are fucked, right? It's just that your copy, your marketing is not good enough to hold their attention. That is the difference.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can have long VSLs. It needs to be well done, world-class written, world-class produced, world-class, like all the other visual kind of like neurohacking elements that you want to throw in. But again, we're testing a lot of things with Pup Labs now, and we've had VSLs that are 30 minutes, and we've cut them down to be like 15 minutes, and we're just testing it to see does it make a difference, and just like cut all the fluff. And it needs to be as long as it needs to be to sell the product, whatever that is, at whatever price point it is. And that can be 5 minutes long, and that can be 45 minutes. I've seen VSLs that go an hour and a half that do $1 million total. Doesn't matter.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
So when you've been cutting them down from 30 to 15, have you guys, do you have enough data to say whether it's been efficient or not? Or
we don't have enough data yet. The data is promising, and it shows that us cutting out like every aspect of the fluff has helped. But the thing is that in the dog market specifically, it's not as saturated with like marketing tactics as like health supplements or health buyers. So there's also that aspect. There's two variables to like talk about, right? And
that's a good
people
point.
in the health supplement space specifically have been marketed to for the past 30 years, since Arnold was around. you know, and like in his prime days. That's when supplements like basically started off as testosterone before it became illegal, and then you get into like actual protein powders and all this shit. Because they've been marketed to so much, you need more sophisticated marketing, and that often requires longer marketing pitches. But in the dog space, where they haven't been marketed to that hardly yet, you don't need the sophistication, which is why we can probably get away with shorter VSLs, because you don't need all the pitching. That's my theory. You know, that theory is obviously the attention span. And like, if you're watching a video for 30 minutes, more than likely your dog's going to jump on you and bother you. So there's also that issue, right? So it's a market thing too. Like different markets will have different lengths of copy needed, different market sophistications. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it, not just like attention spans.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about that one. What was it with traffic and conversions? Went to 2 million a month.
Yeah, so traffic and funnels, we had an offer called Inbound Closer, and my buddy Rob originally wrote the offer, and then he brought me on to kind of help him, and then eventually take it over and beat the control, which is kind of my specialty, and then help him scale the offer and kind of maintain it as he wanted to do other things. And
what
so we started off.
there?
We were selling an info product on the front end that teaches people how to quit their job and become a phone closer, kind of like Jordan Belfort, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
And then on the back end, we would do private coaching with them, as well as place them in jobs so they could get a phone job and then make money.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep. The funnel was, it was a $97 front end. So $97 front end purchase to a $497 kind of accelerated upsell. So $500 upsell. And then you'd be put through a sequence, and within 7 to 10 days, we'd get you on the phone, and we pitched a $9,800 program, and we'd have about a 3% take rate on the back end of those people, which was awesome. Because at scale, I mean, the cash flows in. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's solid.
So on the front end, I imagine you guys did that all automation. Then the 9,800 was the high ticket sell on the back end.
Yep. Yeah. And, you know, the front end basically was we spent about $500,000 a month on ads. And that was our biggest issue, was that we had to keep ads in the pipeline. We're running ads every single day, producing them multiple times a week, because, I mean, you just burn through ads and that kind of ad spend, you know, $30,000 a day goes quick.
Look, on the front end, the 97, the 497, were you guys profitable in the 97, or was that a loss leader?
No, that was actually profitable. That was kind of why I was brought in, is to help make it profitable or break even, because it was a loss leader for a while.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it came down to us like optimizing the production of the VSL, because the copy was excellent. Rob is a fantastic copywriter, world class. Mm-hmm. But the production was not as well done in the beginning. And so I came in, we helped direct it, kind of film a whole new VSL, and the copy was the exact same though. Had a boost of conversions, and then we also had to optimize the ads, because the ads were pulling a lot of the data, right? One ad could just 5x ROAS, other ads would 0.5 x ROAS. So my goal was to figure out, why would we have 5x ROAS ads versus 0.5x ROAS, and just try to assimilate and copy and just duplicate 5x, 4x, 3x, 2x ROAS ads. And we kind of figured out this tangent and script and this whole framework that I developed, which is the YouTube ads matrix. And it was just how to turn any ad into a 2, 3, 4x ROAS ad. Super cool, super fun.
Let's talk about that. That sounds badass.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to pull it up actually on this computer here, because it'll help me kind of go through it a bit better.
YouTube ads, like, it's interesting. We actually do. Gabe and I were chatting about this a lot the other day. A lot of people are always asking about YouTube ads, because I'd say in our space, like, there's, you know, in the affiliate space, lead gen, people are doing it, but it's like, it doesn't always work. Costs kind of come in all over the place at times. Also, the quality we found has been not as strong as it has been on Facebook and Google. So it's just an interesting traffic source as a whole. Yeah,
I love YouTube. We're testing it for a dog brand now, and it's showing some promise. So I'll let you know how that goes later on. But right now, we've been all Facebook for sure, and that's a whole different story. Facebook's its own little beast, so especially in the past 12 months. But YouTube's about attention. And so the first thing in a YouTube ad needs to be the hook, which is the first 5 seconds of the ad. And your goal with the hook is to, one, polarize the fuck out of your audience. So piss a bunch of people off, because you don't want people clicking on your ad, because you get charged after 5 seconds. The goal is to get as many people into the ad as possible that are qualified buyers, not everybody. Because if you start getting everyone into the ad, start appealing to everyone, you get very high CPA, very high CPC, very high CPMs, and that completely destroys your ability to scale. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is being weird as fuck. Honestly, like that has been the biggest hack. Like you just be weird on video, like have just things that just stand out, because people are on YouTube to get entertained or get educated, and most of them are on there to get entertained for the most part, right? So
there is a big education component on YouTube. Actually, I met a guy, actually a guy who cut my hair the other day. He was talking about, he's like, man, I was a dumbass. This is literally what he said. I was a dumbass before YouTube. He's like, I'm a whole lot smarter now from watching freaking YouTube every day as opposed to watching TV. I'm like, man,
YouTube it's an awesome platform. It can, like anything, it can be used for good or evil. Yeah, it's just like it's like social media. You know, social media can be used for good, expanding business knowledge, getting the best information out there, and it can be used for evil and, you know, depression and addiction and just like endless scrolling and like, yeah. So that's a whole other conversation anyways. But back to the YouTube stuff. You start with the hook, and you build up the script where it's like, you know, in 2020, 2021, the scripts are a bit longer. I tend to write them a bit shorter now. But they're about 3 to 4 minutes back then. Now I write them like 1 to 2 minutes. No specific reason other than the algorithm seems to have updated and prefer shorter ads. That's the biggest thing that I found. But with the ads, YouTube ads are basically essentially just the hook, and then the body copy, which is basically telling your prospect like why the fuck your stuff that you're currently doing isn't working. Like in a dog supplement space, like why your current dog supplements aren't working, why your current dog food isn't working, why your current like dog is sick. And then you kind of give them this solution, which is like, here's a new solution, here's why it's different. And you have a mini pitch, and you have testimonials, and you have a second pitch. That's kind of the framework. And then once you kind of find a winning ad, what you want to do is basically you can take that ad, you can extend it to like 30, 40 million impressions. And the way to do that is basically you find a winning ad, you change the first line, and you test like 17 different lines. The first opening line, whatever that is.
So just the
and you'll find like just the first 5 seconds. You can even keep the same line and then change the B-roll, change the footage. That works very well too. We've done that. I do that right now on Facebook. We have the same ad, and then we'll just make 5 different variations with 5 different types of B-roll and see which one hits. And most of the time, 3 out of 5 hit again. Same ad, and Facebook recognizes it's a new ad strategy because it's new B-roll, and Facebook is the visual before it looks at the copy anyways. That's a super cool way to like extend the life out of any ad you're doing. And then after that, if it's like a face-to-camera person, I like testing new locations. So if someone was shooting the ad on a boat, we had them shoot on a private jet, or we had them shoot in like a private golf course or a golf club, or like a McLaren versus a Lambo or whatever else. That's also great. And then after that, what we do, we take that same ad script, and then we'll have the talent shoot it. So if like, for example, like I was shooting the ad, you know, I'd have you, Gabriel, or you, Tyler, like you guys would shoot the ad instead. We test different schools people, and then we test like gender. So we test male, female, etc. And then we would test Australian accents, English accent, like different types of accents. So there's a lot of ways, and that's the same fucking ad script that you just milk the shit out of over and over again for 20, 30, 40 million views. And that's how you turn one 5x ROAS ad into 30 different 5x ROAS ads.
I love that, man. That's a dope little
That's smart. Yeah.
So
I feel like so many people throw out ads when they're just like down and out, you know, just like, this worked, fuck it, I'm on to the next one now. But that's a really smart way to bring it back to life, man. That's genius.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to extend lives, and like I'll honestly write like in a campaign ever 3 to 4 winning ads, and then those ads become monsters because we have 30 ads per winning ad. Essentially, I've written like a fuck ton of bad ads.
We all have, man. We all have.
A handful, man. Like, that's super dope,
right? Yeah. You just need a handful. You know, batting. Yeah, you just get your batting average. You figure out the batting average. You know, if it's 10%. You're like, all right, I need to write 100 ads. It's about to hit 10 ads, and you know that if you hit 10 ads, that you'll hit $1 million a month. And it's just numbers, man. It's just numbers.
No doubt.
Cool.
That's super. Man, that was some good YouTube hacks right there. I know Gabe just launched the course, so get ready, everyone, to see some new fucking B-roll from Gabe every day. Have you tried YouTube ads in your shit?
I just recorded some recently.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice, man. See how those roll.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. No scripted, just freestyle. So we'll see how that goes.
That was actually one of the best ads we ever did, was a freestyle ad.
Dude, the best ad for my course that I've ever done is I was just driving back from somewhere and I was stuck in traffic. So I'm just like, I'm just going to turn my camera phone on and just like record a bunch of random shit. That ad has beat every ad since.
Too funny.
It's the authenticity. It's just, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, if anybody wants to reach out to you or read your blog or anything like that, I know you're saying that you update your blog all the time with like what's working in the marketplace right now. Where can they find that?
Yep. Yeah, so the blog is called beatyourcontrol.com. My whole thing about just, you have controls and you try to beat it. That is, it's one of the best domains ever picked up, to be honest, in terms of.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was available. Good for you. Good grab.
That, right? Yeah, actually, I grabbed it only 2 years ago too. It's not even that old. That's what's crazy. Yeah. And so that's the blog. You find me there. My email list is there. You can also I don't really do social media. Like I have Instagram handle, I have Twitter and whatever, but maybe just email me, peter@peterzemis.com. Happy to answer any emails and just kind of help. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for having me on. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks for everyone listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And for everyone listening, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, or Stitcher. All the things. All right, guys. Thanks again. See you on the next one.
Thanks, yeah.
Later.